Episode 3. I'm
Welcome
your
back.
host, Tyler Smith,
Pat McSweeney.
Dr. Pat McSweeney. Let's not forget it. Episode 3. We are back talking all things nutrition, what it looks like from a daily standpoint for you and I, how it changes maybe on a different day for training, how we're going to fuel for a marathon, half marathon, your tries.
Yep.
Digging a little bit of that. But first, we want to get into today's workout, track workout.
Talk through the workout, talk through what our training weeks and stuff like that look like, and then, dive into some nutrition stuff.
All right. Well, let's dive in. We got our long blacks.
Yep.
Pat got
Element tees.
Elements, and we're ready to go. All right. So today's Dadletics track workout had a good showing. Again, another 13 people.
Yeah.
So 12 guys, 1 girl. Was great. And today's workout was 4 to 6 times 1Ks with 1 minute standing rest at critical velocity. Critical velocity for us, again, is roughly 5-10 seconds per mile slower than your 5K. So enough to create a speed stimulus, but we're not going over into that VO2 max that's, again, run the risk of injuries, overuse, something you can't recover from.
Fatigue, for sure.
Fatigue. Yeah. So this kind of touches that without kind of bearing you for the rest of the week. So how'd it go?
It was good. Context. This morning was, I think I saw like 75 degrees, 90-ish% humidity, 72 dew point. Like pretty oppressive, I would say, from like a condition standpoint.
And we can highlight the temperature, and that's great, and it does affect pace, and maybe that's a whole nother conversation. Dew point specifically is what we're looking for. Heat is one thing, but dew point is the thickness in the air, essentially.
Yeah.
And it does affect pace. It is real. However, I don't want to complain.
I know. I don't either.
This is Ohio, and I just remember these are the easy runs. Getting up and walking out. Yeah. I mean, I didn't take a shirt today.
Yeah.
Those are easy.
Yeah.
But January, when we walk out and I'm freezing.
Those are tougher.
Your hands are cold on the track. That I'm going to complain about. Yeah. Not complain.
Context.
But it does affect pace. So, yes.
I think historically, I have always let heat get into my head a little bit, I think. So I didn't really know what to expect from how this was going to go. We've been doing some of this type of work, like this work around critical velocity pace. Previous to this, like when we were doing the 10K block and stuff like that. For those workouts, I've been hitting around 6:25-ish per mile or 4 minutes per kilometer.
And I did look back. We did a 4x1K on March 23rd.
Okay. So
with
3 months ago or so.
That was that critical velocity for us, and that's the 1 minute
more rest. Okay.
It was 1 minute rest.
Okay.
So there was another time we had done 5x1K, but that was, I believe, the year before with 90-second rest.
Yeah.
So we did touch this, but just we capped it at 4.
Yep. So going in, I think my expectation was going to be around that like 4 minutes per K, like try to keep it pretty controlled throughout the first couple of reps and then work down if I could.
And you think your 5K right now is?
The last time 5K I've done was like 1919, which was like at the end of last year. I would like to think I'm right around 19 minutes, if not just maybe slightly below.
Yeah.
Okay. So roughly, if we're using that as our formula, roughly 6:20, 6:15 would be right around critical velocity pace, which is exactly where I ended up today. So ended up averaging 3:54 for all the reps, which I was definitely pleased with. Like I said, I thought it was going to be closer to probably like 4 minutes, but like it usually goes, we go on that first rep. I'm trying to stay with you, but also run my own workout.
Yep.
So came through that rep in 3:54, like right on, and okay, didn't feel bad, like felt very controlled.
Yeah.
But I was just curious how that was going to go from like a heat standpoint. And it went pretty well. So yeah, I was super happy with it. Probably felt towards the end, felt like a maybe 8 out of 10 it got to, but not anything more than that. So
did you get a read on your heart rate max?
I think I got into the 170s, like on those last couple reps.
And what do you think your max heart rate is?
I think I've seen probably around like 185, 186 is probably around my max that I've like touched in a race.
Yeah.
Threshold heart rate's probably around like low to mid 160s, I would say. So,
and I bring that up. Alex asked me what I touched on that workout today, heart rate, and I was just saying my max heart rate is, I believe, to be about 180.
Okay.
So when I'm posting, sometimes I'll post like my easy runs on the weekend or whatever, and it's I'm averaging 100, 115 beats. But if my max is 180, obviously that is going to be lower, right?
Relative.
Right. And he was saying that his max, I think, is like 190, 195. Well, of course, his easy maybe is 125.
Be a little higher
even if we were similar.
Totally.
So I just wanted to put that in context
for sure.
A little bit.
So yeah, I felt like it was like got the stimulus, got what we intended out of the workout. Felt pretty controlled for the most part. Yeah, I was super happy with it.
Could you have done 8?
I think I could have, but it definitely would have been a struggle those last 2 reps.
Like, so the original plan was 8 1Ks, and last minute I backed it off. Kind of thinking of where we are and where we want to go. Eventually, we will build on this. I have us at 8 and 10.
Yeah, so 10.
So we will progress on this. So this will be a good starting point.
I think I probably would have started slower if we had done 8. But so I'm glad we did 6.
Yeah,
like all that to say.
Okay,
I think that was good. How'd it go for you?
Good.
Seemed good.
It was good. So again, there's no one workout that can say you do this, you're going to be sub 3 hour. However, I've heard from other coaches that Jeff Cunningham specifically, his prescription to be sub 3 hour for this workout, he would want 8 to 12 1Ks at 1 minute rest around 340s to 344s. In March, I did the 4x1Ks at 349s, which was like a 6-10 minute mile pace. At that time is what I thought my critical velocity was. I think that was right before maybe the Arnold 5K. So then coming into today, it's like, well, where am I at? What is my true 5K? Because I don't want to miss the stimulus. I want to get everything I want out of it. So I determined that I think I may be around a 5:55 minute mile, low 18, 5K. So if that were that, then I should be in that around a 340 to 344. So I started at a 348, felt fine, slowly kind of pushed. Average 340 ended up being 344 with a 340 finish.
Yeah,
on my last one.
Nice.
And really, I was kind of maybe the last 10 meters of every round, I was kind of just coasting in, seeing that I was hitting around 344s. And so that for that last one, I just
pushed it a little bit.
Slight kick. Just never pulled up.
Yeah.
And finished hard. And that 340 pulled that 348 down to the 344. Hit it. Is 8 there? Yeah, it would have been. It was a workout.
Yeah.
I was breathing heavy. For context, last week for the 2400s, I did my max heart rate was a 173.
Okay.
The 180, so it was close to that 95%.
Yeah.
I was pushing it.
Yeah.
This was a 167.
Okay.
So I topped out around 92% of my max heart rate. Spent about 15 minutes in that zone 4, which is exactly what I wanted to do for this workout.
Yeah.
Hit the time that I wanted. Hopefully I continue to get fitter and that I can do the 8-10 times 1K, hopefully.
Yeah.
They're going to be workouts. And that's the thing. I feel like they have to be workouts. Sometimes I feel like I've been maybe not, how do I want to say that? I think I'm faster than sometimes what I think I am.
Yes.
And we've had that
100%.
And so sometimes I leave those workouts on, I'm like, oh, like it wasn't that bad. So I'm hoping to get into some of these workouts. It's like the night before I get a little nervous about it. And I think I'm slowly, today was a good one. I mean, that was a 6-minute mile pace.
Yeah. A little behind the scenes, like we were texting earlier this week, and you were like, yeah, I think like 3:44 is like kind of the projected, and I think it was making you a little like unsure, which I was like, that's probably the sweet spot.
It is. And I think it's one of those, it's tough because I want to hit the stimulus. And that's the whole point. But I'm not trying to be a hero either. Like I don't want to rip 330H just to say, hey, I did this, if that's my VO2 max.
Right.
So I want to get what I'm trying to go after. But at the same time, as I continue to get faster, it gets like, well, what is that true band?
Well, I think it's a good segue because you kind of mentioned it before in a different context, but like these Thursday workouts are the ones we highlight, the ones that we talk about, but those on their own are not predictive of what you're going to do in the marathon. Correct. Without the other stuff that you're doing throughout the week.
Correct.
And the reason why, like you're saying, like I want to hit that stimulus but not be a hero is because, you know, coming soon, you're going to have pretty big long run workouts on the weekends that you're going to have to be ready for.
Absolutely. That, and I've also added a day. Yeah, it's something I was going to bring up is this was the first track Thursday. I mean, sometimes maybe if a schedule is off, I have to run on a Wednesday, but typically Wednesdays are just an upper for me.
Yeah.
So to be able to go in today, having run 8 yesterday, is a whole new stimulus too.
Yeah.
But yes, I do have to protect because, you know, even Saturday, it's still 15 miles I have to run. That's still time on feet.
Yeah.
It's going to add up.
Yeah.
So again, don't want to overcook these Thursdays. I want to hit the exact thing, but at the same time, I don't want to walk away and be like, maybe I didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
Do the workout that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think always tracking your heart rate is always a good thing. Because it does show you that, hey, I didn't overcook it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in that 90 to 92% of max heart rate. So I encourage everybody to get a heart rate strap versus a watch. Watches can be a little tricky. They like to pick up your cadence sometimes. So have you had that same experience? But you don't wear you kind of just go off your watch.
I don't. Yeah, I go off watch, and I'm a big RP. Like just yeah, like. And if ultimately that's where I want to be. Yeah, that's true.
And it's funny because it is funny when I do post these. Typically after my long runs is kind of most of the runs I only post on Instagram. So Saturday morning, and I go off of the Whoop strap. And so I like the Whoop strap because years ago I rode a lot, and I used to wear the Polar chest strap. But rowing, sometimes I would just blow up cardiovascular, and having any type of restraint on my chest just
didn't love that.
Hated it. And sitting down, the watch was pretty good, but I ended up getting the Whoop armband during that time, and then I compared the two, and it was spot on. And so, and also running with the Whoop on your wrist, same thing as your watch. It's sporadic.
Yeah,
it jumps around. It picks up your cadence. And so I've switched to the armband, and it seems very, very consistent, and I've liked that. So I would highly encourage people to get some type of a strap or a band if you really want to get nerdy about that. But RP is that's real too.
Yeah.
But going back to my story is the Whoop takes some time to process after those easy runs, and I typically finish the run, take my picture. And then I'm writing all my stuff, and I always put my average heart rate on that, which is, you know, easy running. And I usually guess. And I'm pretty much spot. I'm 115 and 117 always.
Yeah.
I just know based off of
how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the more you run, that's kind of what that becomes.
It gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, at some point, but like when it comes to racing, especially, unless you're doing, you know, a longer distance race or something like that, where you are relying on a really solid like pacing strategy. Because early on in a marathon, you're going to feel good. If you don't feel good in the first few miles, you might be in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that as like a reinforcement for a metric to be like, okay, I'm staying within, the band that I'm trying to from a heart rate standpoint.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good to have a good feel for what that feels like too. So
yeah, and I do it now just to make sure, even though I pretty much know where I'm at zone wise,
mm-hmm.
I don't ever look at my heart rate during runs.
Yeah.
So really, my runs are always RPE. It's just nice to have the data on the back end.
Yeah.
And I think especially for beginners, it's super helpful because you can say, I think I ran easy, and then you look and you're like, no, you're actually in zone 3, which is that gray area. We don't want to be in zone 3. It was too hard.
Yeah.
So I think until they can understand what the RPE is in the feel, I highly encourage new runners to get heart rate.
Yeah. I think it's nice to have both.
Yeah.
Like not be married to it always from like a data standpoint, but also it's nice to have as a metric.
Yeah.
But really start to get a feel for like what those easy runs feel like.
Yep.
And the way you got there is by having that data, backing it up, and knowing like, okay, this is what it should feel like when I run easy or hard, like depending on what the intended stimulus is.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it'll be good to like I said, these Thursday workouts are not the only thing we're doing throughout the week. So how else does this fit into the rest of your week?
Yep. And that's how, and we talked about that last week on the last episode, is I want to protect the long run, but today was a quality run.
Yeah.
And what also, I guess, then leads us into kind of fueling, which is a big part of this, because my days adjust on what I'm doing for that day. So how do you want to go into?
So I think we can set some context. Like we'll talk through both of our kind of like, I guess, thought processes and strategies, and actually get into more of like the nitty gritty of like what a day looks like, what a week looks like, that sort of thing.
Yep.
I think we come at this from different perspectives, and there's multiple ways to do it, I think. We'll kind of get into that.
I think we kind of foreshadowed that, because you like to go off of RPE.
Yep.
And I've tracked every single heart rate.
There's a
data
theme
point.
Here.
So I will maybe just take it on kind of where I've come from a nutrition standpoint. I would say it really dates back in my CrossFit year, so probably 6 years ago, when I was getting really competitive in CrossFit and drinking and eating like an idiot. And then you go do that workout and feel terrible. And you feel the wings from the night before. And I'm like, I hate this feeling.
Yeah.
And finally you're like, okay, let's just make some adjustments. And there was
Is this pre-kids, post-kids?
This is pre-kids.
Okay.
This is pre-kids.
Okay.
Hence the drinking.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough, there was a girl from the Body Biz that would work out with me, as well as another guy that was all in on counting macros and what that meant. And so he helped me understand what that looked like and how to truly fuel for those. Because again, I was kind of coming from this straight background. I was like, protein shakes should be good enough, right? I don't know what else I should be doing. And so I just the biggest change was just fueling pre-workouts and then post-workouts of a lot of carbs. And I just saw a lot of my performance go up.
Yeah.
And so I really bought into that, and then kept tracking and understanding, but then dug in even more here as it had to change a little bit. I was so protein heavy. I was almost like 2 grams per body weight at one point, like 250 grams of protein.
Substantial.
But then I would let carbs and fat kind of play out. Which was fine, but I didn't feel great. So 2 years ago, I started tracking. I would say I took a slight break of tracking, just enjoying life, kids. And then 2 years ago, I needed to start slimming down for the Arnold Pump and Run. So I started tracking everything again. And I got into running and the endurance and went all in on carbs, increased carbs. I would say I was, low 300s, and I popped that up to like 350, 360. Felt all this huge energy boost, pulled the fat down, and pulled protein to pretty much 1 gram per body weight, and that was significant for me. Since then, I've increased carbs even more here. I'm trying to get up to, on average, about 2 times body weight in carbs, which is about 500 grams.
Yeah.
But again, that for me, I think it's smart it has to be an evolution of that instead of just jumping.
Yeah, I think that's like anything, just getting
Right.
used to that more.
It's not doesn't challenge your body too much. But it is funny. Each day is different. It's based around the workouts. So Sundays are currently off for me. So those are my lowest calorie days, called like 2,800. Today, Saturdays, like my quality days, I'll be closer to like 3,300.
Okay.
Ends up equaling out to about 3,100. And it's funny, it's 2025, I was exactly 3,100 calories. And so far this year, I'm exactly at 3,100 calories. Didn't plan it that way, but that's just how it kind of comes to be. But the biggest thing for me, and it's not for everybody, but a lower fat diet has been huge for me. I feel great on that. I still hit the minimum. So my template is you need at least 0.3 grams per body weight of fat to maintain your hormones, testosterone. And so I'm about 3.8, so about 4 grams or 0.4 grams. So about 75 grams, call it 200 pounds right now.
Okay.
And then I've stuck to 1 gram protein. So those are my two constants. And then the middle now is the carbs is pretty much what I change on a week-to-week basis. But it's hard. I mean, you think 75 grams of fat, but if you actually look at that, everything has fat in it. It's quick. And it goes super quick. And I think the one thing that you and I can agree on is food prep is critical.
Yeah. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So every Sunday I food prep for my wife and I for the week. And all it is right now is I do our lunches, which is typically jasmine rice, which is about 300 grams for me. And if you don't have a rice cooker, get a rice cooker.
Oh, okay.
You don't have one?
No. Just use a pot.
It's sit and forget. You put it in, turn it on, and you could leave the house.
Yeah.
And it cooks it perfectly. Highly recommend that. But I'll throw in a sweet potato in that rice cooker, and it gets super soft, and you mash it up so you have like orange or purple, but it adds so much flavor to the rice.
Nice. Okay. All right.
So rice, chicken, then we throw veggies, and then heat that up, and then I throw like kimchi in there, hot sauce, pretty low calorie option. So I'll food prep that for her and I. So lunches are always taken care of, and then I do some type of overnight oats, which is typically like a post workout for me. 35 grams protein.
Okay. What about breakfast?
Breakfast I always cook here.
Okay.
So, but I will say I'm a big sourdough guy.
Okay.
So I got into sourdough 2 years ago.
Nice.
And we are all things sourdough. So I think I'm up to 2 loaves now, but I make a brown sugar cinnamon sourdough loaf.
Damn, sounds good.
It's amazing. She loves it. And then on top of that, I found creamed honey, which is
I don't even know what that is.
You just like spin it, and so it's more like spreadable.
Okay.
Instead of like squeezing it on, you like take a knife to it like butter, and they put cinnamon in it, and then we put that on top of it. It's literally like a dessert cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
But the macros are amazing, and so breakfast is 2 slices of that, honey, 2 eggs. Again, I hit my protein so quickly. I used to do eggs and egg whites, and now I've pretty much had to eliminate the egg whites.
Okay.
Because again, if I have, call it for even numbers, 3,000 calories in the day, and I'm hitting my fat but I want to get to say, 450 carbs that day. What's got to come from somewhere, and it can't come from any more from fat, so it has to come from protein. So I'm trying to really dial that in and not go over on the protein, so I can hit my carbs. And then fruit with that, raspberries, whatnot. So I always cook that per se. For us every morning. We have the time to do that, which is great. And then I make Sundays or sourdough pancakes.
Nice.
So I make like 25 of them. And so those have been huge. So right before you came, I've had 3 of those, which helps on the carbs. Dude, getting over 400 carbs is
substantial.
It can be challenging.
It's substantial.
Yeah.
That's nice though, because I feel like at the end of the day, you can be like, oh, I can have a bowl of cereal, or I can have, good stuff.
Well, so that's another whole. I mean, dude, there's so much to talk about. So, being a data nerd, I've had now the Whoop for 5 years, and you can track all the insights on that. So, I stopped eating after dinner. So call it nothing past 6 o'clock. And to see if there was any trend, and there was a huge trend for me. HRV way higher, resting heart rate lower. So for me specifically, it allows my body to relax. Where I think if I was having that bowl of cereal, as much as I want that bowl of cereal before bed, and there's times I could probably use it, but for me, my body will kick into overdrive to process that food, and then I don't get the recovery that I want.
That's for like sleep quality, that's a big thing. It's like not eating, I think it's 3 hours beforehand before you go to bed.
But on the flip side, and that's why it's like I track everything so I know I'm fueled. But if you forget and don't have enough fuel, and you're like, well, I can't eat past 6, but you didn't get enough food in you, and you're starving, you wake up at 1 needing to eat, that's a problem too.
Totally. Yeah.
And so you have to have that dialed in and make sure you're eating when you're supposed to eat. So that's pretty much my day of eating.
Nice.
Like I said, there's a flex on depending on how much I'm running that day, and carbs specifically too. But the goal is to get up to about 500 here towards the end of this block.
Yeah. My approach is slightly different. So I have also at a different point, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, tracked religiously for 3 months, 4 months, something like that, also with the Body Biz.
This is Body Biz.
Yeah. Okay. So
what were you doing before that?
I just eat
just what I wanted. Okay. Yeah. And what was your body weight then? Were you bigger?
Yeah. So I've fluctuated. Like back in high school was like probably at my heaviest was like 260, 265, give or take. Played D-line, not a runner at all at that point. And then food has always been something I've very much enjoyed. I think there's like bigger context to that, but as far as like like that tracking period, I was probably around 215, 220, give or take.
And you were competing or starting to get into tries then?
Yeah. So that was like 2019 is when I did my first 70.3.
Okay.
And at that time, like when I was training for that race, I was probably like 225, maybe 230. And before that had probably been at my lightest was probably around 200 pounds, maybe 190. So it had fluctuated. When I got into PT school was definitely, I mean, I was working out, but not paying attention to what I was eating. Stress was higher. Definitely probably put on some weight. But yeah, so that period of time I tracked, and I am a very like routine based person. Like I love
that we have in common.
I love the monotony of a routine.
Yep.
And the same is true for food. Like especially for like breakfast and lunch, it is very like utilitarian. Like it is like, okay, I need this fuel, it can be the same and as easy as possible every single day. So my breakfast and lunch does not really fluctuate unless I'm like traveling, and even then it's pretty consistent.
And pre-Body Biz, though, was that?
That was not the case.
That was not the case.
No.
So once you locked into this, it's been set in stone.
Yep. So the biggest thing out of that was I prepped, started meal prepping my lunches. So similar to you, it's rice. Do this on like Sunday afternoon. My wife or myself will do it depending on who's home and who's got the time. But we got it down to a pretty good science at this point. So I buy the sleeve of frozen grass-fed beef burgers from Costco, and then the big bag of jasmine rice from Aldi. Those are the two big things, and then a giant frozen bag of mixed vegetables from Costco also.
You get the Pura Vida, the fire roasted?
No.
Dude.
I've seen those, and I've thought about venturing out. I get the cheap, like,
don't even.
Carrots, corn,
everything's
peas.
Cheap.
That's true.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Dude,
but
these
I've
Pura
seen those.
Vida fire roasted vegetables.
I've seen those. They look
money.
Good. I might have to switch it up. I used to do broccoli. Like I used to just do. They have like the. I think it's a 5-pound bag total, but like the 1 pound individual packaged broccoli.
I will give you that. I tried it maybe every other week. I do the same. Roasted broccoli with salt and pepper and garlic powder with some olive oil.
Yeah,
pretty solid too.
Hard to beat.
But that's
I mean,
green beans, carrots, and
mixed vegetables.
Right.
I know.
That's what my kids like.
It's
simple.
It's simple.
I get it.
I mean,
I get it.
So like the process is 3 burgers in a frying pan. Lid goes on. Those are basically like I'll flip them at one point, but
so you just throw the burger in. You don't crush it or ground it up or anything.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Patties.
Yeah.
Put it in the pan. Let that cook. Once it gets to a cooked state, I take the wooden spatula and just chop it into little pieces. Yeah.
Why not just buy the ground beef?
I don't know. It's a good question.
It's probably cheaper. So now you take your savings from buying the burgers, you put it towards your vegetables.
I'll have to look into that. This is just routine.
Get it?
So do that. Three burgers every week.
And the burgers, what's the fat on those? 85-15 or 90-10?
They're grass-fed. They're a little fattier. They are, I think they're like 85-15.
85-15. Okay.
Maybe even 80-20.
Ooh,
no,
all right.
That's where I get my fat. That and hummus.
Yep.
So
there goes 80 grams.
That's right. So that's lunch. So and then the vegetables. I mean,
just we put any condiments on it?
Dijon mustard.
Mustard. Okay.
Dijon mustard. I will go hot sauce sometimes, but mustard is my go-to.
I mean, mustard's 3 calories.
When my wife was pregnant, she does not love the smell of mustard and or broccoli. So like when she was pregnant with our first son, she's like, you got to go eat that. Like, A, you can't cook that here, and B, you need to go. Like, she needs to be gone, or like you need to eat it in the car, or you need to eat it at work. Like, you can't eat it here.
So that's how my wife is with kimchi.
Okay.
Have you ever had kimchi?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's so good. It adds so much flavor for minimal calories.
Yeah.
It's just cabbage. Fermented cabbage, and
the smell of it.
She'll walk in after work. She's like, "You had kimchi for lunch today." I'm like, "How?" And then there goes her ever giving me a kiss. Yeah. She's like, "I can smell it on your breath." I'm like,
"Yeah,
like it smells good."
I love like that sort, like salty, like mustard, pickles, like that flavor profile.
That's
kimchi, same thing.
Yeah.
My wife does not like those things at all.
My wife loves pickles, so I don't know why the kimchi is such a big deal to her. But yeah.
Interesting thing.
Well, that's the problem too. Is Pura Vida has a lot of there's mushrooms in it. She hates mushrooms.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So husband of the year, when I'm making her, I'm taking out the mushrooms.
Good for you. Yeah. But yeah, so that's lunch. Like again, that makes 5 lunches for the week.
Did we talk what was breakfast?
Have not talked breakfast yet. Breakfast, I just got into, so we were doing like Kroger brand instant oatmeal packets. Like that was the morning of. Now, Costco, buy the 10-pound old-fashioned oats package. My wife looked at me funny when I brought that home, but I was like, this will be good, like less sugar. So I do usually like 2/3 of a cup of the old-fashioned oats, microwave it for 55 seconds.
All right.
Routine.
How many steps does it take you from the counter to?
I haven't got to that point yet. I use 55 because I just hit the button twice. I don't do
It's all good.
time saver. So that scoop of peanut butter, while that's cooking, usually a scoop of peanut butter, just spoonful. I know.
Peanut butter is dangerous, people.
I'll tell you more about that. And then chocolate chips, honey, cinnamon.
All right.
It's a pretty decadent breakfast.
I thought you were saving sugar from the. Were you doing all this with the packets too?
No, I added this with the flavor.
Well, you're not saving on sugar.
Health.
We're not demonizing sugar, by the way. Sugar is very important,
necessary
for endurance athletes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my breakfast, banana, along with that.
Okay.
This morning, and
no protein.
No, not really.
You ever thought about throwing a whey protein in that?
I usually do protein
or Greek yogurt,
like outside of that, like in the morning.
Throw Greek yogurt in there.
Yeah, I thought about that. I usually get Greek yogurt later in the day.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that's breakfast, lunch, and then dinner is the thing that fluctuates. But we're pretty we have our staples.
It's same for us.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I gotta. Yeah, that's the one that is not locked down typically.
Yeah.
Usually my whole day is locked down. Other than that that fluctuates a little bit.
But we have our go-tos like sweet potato bowls with grilled chicken. We have Thursdays are usually pizza nights, so still throw some pizza in there. And then weekends, usually one night of the weekend, sometimes two, depending on what the week's been like. We'll order out. But yeah, that's typically how the week goes.
Yeah.
But I think the time that I spent tracking was very useful for me because I feel like because I don't fluctuate that much, once I have something locked in, like those calories are fairly set.
So I'll ask you this.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it.
I feel like we're so dialed into training, and we understand that fuel can help facilitate.
Totally.
Right. And so why not dial in more? So you don't know, do you know how many calories, macros, protein on a daily basis?
I would say not yeah.
But have you ever thought about dialing that in for okay, I have right now, goal A, right? Your try 6 weeks out. Why not dial it in? Make sure you're not leaving anything on the table.
Yeah. I think it's a fair criticism for sure. I think my argument normally would be because food brings me so much joy. I don't want to feel restricted or like that is something that I am being restrictive with, which again is probably a cop out because I could do that for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever.
I just say that's literally all you have to do is a day.
Yeah,
because it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I said peanut butter is dangerous, is a spoonful of peanut butter could literally range from 100 calories to 400 calories, depending on size of spoon.
Yep.
And size of scoop.
Yep. And I usually go for 2. It's always
I will bring that up. And then my other concern of that would be, okay, well, say you overconsume that peanut butter. Again, this is just an example. And you have a good feeling of your satiety. What if that is holding you back from having the extra carbs, and those extra carbs possibly lead to better performance?
Yeah, I would say I get more so the way I look at it, all of the macronutrients have a specific utility to them. In the way that I'm thinking about it.
Sure.
Carbs are fuel. I will, and again, not in a measured way, but will increase carbs. Like this morning, instead of just the oatmeal and banana, I did throw in a piece of toast with some jam on it. just because I know, like, okay, I'm going to need some of this, like, quicker fuel for the workout. So that's kind of the way I think about all of my nutrition is like, okay, in around key sessions, I'm bumping up my carbs. Again, not as a pure number standpoint,
Just
but like
intuitively.
just knowing like, okay, I know I'm going to need this from like a fueling standpoint. Night before, same thing. Like the night before a key workout, I will do the same thing. Like I'll have increase my carbs. That might be an extra piece of toast. That might be more sweet potatoes in my sweet potato bowl.
Sure.
That sort of thing.
And that's fair. And I do know that there are a lot of people that struggle with their relationship with food. And
I think I have definitely
and
been
they
there
don't want
before.
to feel restrictive. And I think that's great. I'm just opposite. Like I if I don't like it, it's a game to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a puzzle piece. Even though I have most of the pieces already set the night before, but every night in bed, I'm like, all right, this is what I literally know exactly what I'm eating the next day.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm traveling, and I always try to find out where am I going to eat, or if I have a dinner with for work, where's the restaurant, and then I take a screenshot of that, and then ChatGPT breaks down this would fit into your day.
Yeah.
But for me, like I have to know because if I don't, that messes with my head.
Okay.
And so now where's the balance, right? So it's like now, don't get me wrong, when we were on vacation, it was good for me a week-long vacation. It's good for me to have a general idea, but I try to not.
For sure.
But again, it's what messed with me on vacation is I kind of, when I don't track, then I kind of let go.
Yeah.
And then I kind of maybe overeat. But I mean, we were having like ice cream every night. My recovery.
Nice.
So it's like, but I was hoping my recovery would be good.
Yeah.
I was in the red.
Yeah.
So that dairy, that sugar load before bed and eating before bed, like I just said, like it messed with my body so much I wasn't recovering. So then I'm like, well, okay, well, am I enjoying ice cream for 5 minutes versus now I'm fretting over my recovery?
Yeah.
It's just interesting how we have two different perspectives of it.
Yeah.
But I want to, again, it just goes back to the CrossFits. Like, I don't want that to be the lever that I'm not pulling or allowing because I'm not hitting said carbs for the day that I'm not performing on the track.
Yeah.
Because my joy out of my results outweigh the food for me.
That's fair. I think.
And again, I'm still eating, I mean, we have pizza on Fridays.
Yeah.
I still get, like, I just bought these cookie dough bites.
Yeah.
But I just fit it in my day. Right? So I don't restrict myself to healthy food.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I do want to, I do think about, and I'll let you get kind of your point, but obviously it's important to me too, but my boys see this. And sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want them to think that you have to weigh out all your food because we have a scale sometimes at dinner.
Totally.
When we're passing things around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, obesity's real.
Totally.
The opposite of like, I don't know how to manage. I mean, food is at our fingertips. High calorie food is at our fingertips all the time.
For sure.
It's hard to say no. Like if it's at the house, like you want to eat it. Like our brains are set up to survive.
Totally.
And so my son will be like, hey, Dad, this has 5 grams of protein in it. Like he already knows how to read calories. You talk to, someone in your family, they're like, what are macros?
Yeah.
I don't understand how to read a nutrition label. So, but at the same time, it's our verbiage with the boys too, I think is important. So we don't demonize food. They'll be like, well, so-and-so said that's unhealthy. Like, no, we don't use words of healthy, unhealthy. We don't demonize sugar. It all has its place. There are some foods that have more nutrients to them.
Totally.
Right? And those are the foods that we try to choose. But at the same time, sugar's great for us, right? It gives us energy. So you guys can recover. You guys can go play. Maybe the timing of it's important, right? We don't want to, again, for me, an example, eating a high sugar-loaded dairy product right before bed, that's not helping me.
Yeah.
But if I have ice cream in the middle of the day and then I go, walk and run or whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? As long as I'm not eating in a calorie surplus all the time, and then not moving. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle with is we just overconsume so much and then we're not moving.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think wanted to get that piece
Yeah.
in there about the kids. I think it's important though too to show them what
totally
healthy food is. And I think when you said you guys order out, I think that's great. I mean, 1 to 2 times a week is nothing.
Yeah.
We hardly ever, but I enjoy cooking, and
Yeah.
one, I can eat way more food if
Mhm.
I'm controlling the ingredients, which again, when you're kind of, not that I'm restricted, but I am kind of restrictive of
Yeah.
how much I consume. It's important to me that I get as much volume as possible.
For sure.
So
I think the other point that I want to bring in is that I feel like because I did track before and have a like background in, like, my undergrad was in nutrition. So
I didn't know that about you.
yeah. So I feel like one of the reasons why I feel like I can be a little bit more lenient, I guess, is because I do have that framework, like, background, as far as like, okay, I know when I'm trying to perform, I need to increase my carbs. When I am like messing around and we go to Little Grand and I'm going to eat whatever I want, um, I can let loose.
Yeah.
I think that flexibility for me is sustainable, which to me is like the biggest thing. Like the biggest problem I see folks run into is and you're an exception, I would say. Like, you love the tracking and love the game of it. I would say most people track for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and then they fall completely off the wagon.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. So I think this, I'll call it 80-20, where I'm like, most of the time I'm eating pretty strictly or eating the same things and knowing what I'm consuming, works because it's sustainable for me.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It has to be sustainable. Any diet you do, it's not a, well, I'm going to diet now. No, it's like, it's a life. It has to be a lifestyle change. Yep. And I will say that, yes, tracking is not for everybody, but I would encourage people to at least track a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you've never done it before,
totally, it's eye-opening.
You will be blown away by how much fat you're consuming and how much little of protein you consume.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why protein's having its day. But you have to be careful with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because dude, it's so funny. I mean, you'll read these labels and it'll say high protein. And it's like, well, what's considered a high protein meal? So one hack that we learned is if you take the protein per serving and add a 0 to that, and if that number is higher than the total calories, then it's considered a high protein meal or snack.
Yeah.
So if it's, say, one serving is 100 calories and it has 5 grams of protein, and on the front it says high protein snack, and you add a 0, so that would be 50. Mm-hmm. That's less than 100. That's not a high protein snack.
Yeah.
Now, if it was, call it, I don't know what's greater than, I don't know, 30 grams, and you add a 0, 300, obviously, then that's a protein. Yeah. Protein snack. I mean, think about a protein shake.
Protein bar.
120 calories, 25 grams, you add a 0 to that. That's a high protein.
That makes sense.
Then the other thing, you just have to be careful about complete proteins as well.
Yeah.
Because again, it can say 10 grams of protein, but they're not complete proteins. So you're not utilizing all that.
Yeah.
Little side tangent about protein.
No, yeah, I think the sustainability is important, and I mean, for us, obviously, there's two different ways to go about it. I would recommend tracking at some point, just so you know what you are consuming, even if it's not what you do all the time. It's a helpful, like, lesson and what you're actually taking in. Otherwise, you're not auditing any of that.
And that's
like setting a budget.
That, and it just, like, that's the peanut butter example. Yeah. That range of calories is huge. And if you are trying to lose weight and you need to be in a calorie deficit, those 200 calories are huge. Mm-hmm. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So my trap was, so I mentioned the oatmeal. I would have a scoop of peanut butter while it's cooking. I would do sometimes 2 at lunch, after lunch, and then 2 at dinner. So it was like probably a good 500 or 600 calories worth of peanut butter in a day. So I've cut that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think
I'd be curious to see where your protein was then. There's no way you're getting close to your protein.
Probably not. Yeah.
Because if you're trying to get your carbs in, so you again.
Yep.
So then, yeah. And again, protein's so important because those amino acids are the building block of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the more muscle we have, the more carbs we can hold on to as well and utilize, which is huge.
Yep.
And then, I mean, we can always, again, we're talking elite endurance, athletic, but just from a normal person who eventually it'll lead to diabetes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why muscle is so important. It's a storage system for that glucose every time you do have carbs.
Yeah. Let's talk race fueling.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a good.
Yep.
So I would say the complete opposite of my normal day-to-day where I'm like, all right, I'm in the ballpark. The race is not the time to do that. Like, I feel like there's a formula to that. And for a day, for the race itself, like that, again, to your point, I don't want to miss the boat on a huge lever when it comes to performance.
Yeah.
So that is dialed in. Like, I feel like I have a strategy that works. I feel like I have something that is consistent and is predictable, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yep.
So yeah, for that, like, I mean, we can talk carb loading and stuff like that, but I think just like carbs are king, and most people under fuel for races. Like, I remember when I first started like dialing in that nutrition for like the day of a race, I was like, holy smokes, like I was getting like a gel maybe for a half, for a marathon or for like a longer distance race. Like, when I did my first 70.3, I remember my first Olympic triathlon, which is like almost a mile swim.
Well, what's the total duration?
I think
that's the biggest.
Probably for most folks, probably around 3 hours.
3 hours. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's where.
Yeah. So
that's the most important thing.
My wife still laughs at me because she's like, "You didn't even have like a water bottle on your bike for that first race, and it was like 95 degrees. It was horrible." Needless to say, that didn't go well. But as I started to like get more into it and start to like dial in more of that nutrition side of things, like, it is a performance enhancer and can, on the flip side, be an absolute detriment, even for the fittest person that
100%
is not taking care of that piece.
Yeah.
So for a race, like, just as a general template, I'm getting anywhere from like 90 to 100 grams of carbs per hour.
Okay. And for an hour and a half race?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And even for longer, like when I've done 70.3 or even the full Ironman, which 70.3 is 5 to 6 hours for most folks.
And you're taking those, you like the precision pouches, right?
Yep.
90 grams.
Which those are 90 grams in one pouch. Okay. Which I like. It's just easy. Like, just get through that, and that's 90 grams. If I'm doing a triathlon, though, I get a lot of that through liquid on the bike. Okay. So for a half Ironman, I was 30 ounces of fluid, would have 100 grams of carbs, and 1,400 milligrams of sodium per hour. I am a heavy sweater, a very salty sweater. So that, like, probably doesn't even replenish everything that I'm losing, but at least gets me to a normal level of losses.
Okay.
For a running race, so we did the half last year.
Yeah.
I will take one of those precision gels, which is 90 grams for a roughly hour and a half-ish race.
And that's it.
Yep.
No caffeine?
No, which I'm going to start messing with a little bit, I think, for this next race.
Yeah, let's keep it running specific here. So in the fall, when you ran Cap City, what was the morning up to?
Similar morning of to what I would normally do. So oatmeal, banana. I would take that up to probably like at that time I was doing the instant packets. So I would do 2 packets of oatmeal.
It's actually less sugar then.
Yeah. 2 packets of oatmeal. Usually have a Gatorade, like a 20 ounce, I think, Gatorade that I just like sip on morning of. And then I'm trying to basically get 150 grams of carbs in that morning, basically. Yeah. And then during have that 90-gram gel. And then every aid station stopping for water.
But you're having coffee that morning. So you do
coffee.
Caffeine
Yeah, usually
get the body
2 cups of coffee. Yeah.
So you're probably getting
regular.
You're probably almost getting 300 milligrams.
Yeah. Which is a fairly normal morning for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a little less than what I normally get, depending on the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you?
So for half marathons, you didn't talk carb loading, but I will talk that. I would carb load probably just 24 hours out. I think that is sufficient. Really, you don't deplete all glycogen past an hour and a half at 90 minutes. Your body pretty much has storage, which is nice if you're running that fast. Obviously, if you're not, obviously you need to continue to do. But I think there's something to be said mentally when you feed your brain glucose of RPE or just continuing, because again, your body doesn't want to keep pushing. But if you say, hey, I'm going to keep feeding you, I think there's something to be said. And I think that's half the battle for a half marathon for me.
There's research that backs that up too. Like there's like I can't name the study exactly, but it's basically like they were given a carb solution that they just like swished around in their mouth and then spit it out. Yeah. But it was still effective from a performance standpoint.
So I will, for the halves, I love carb loading. Who doesn't? I think it's amazing. So it's like my day that I get to go to town on all things carbs. Morning of, I've stuck to just English muffins, a little bit of peanut butter, honey. Not my typical mornings, but it's just carb heavy. I stay away from any protein shakes, protein of that sort. A little bit of caffeine to get the body going. But for me then, and then I similar sip carbs on the way to race for fluid. But then I pop a gel pack, 20 grams with caffeine 15 minutes before the race. The research on caffeine is a lot of it's RPE, right? It's perceived exertion is less with caffeine. And so, but it also takes like 30 or 35 minutes for it actually to kick in. Hence taking it right before the race, especially for the half marathon, because we're moving. For the marathon, I'll wait for that caffeine later in the race. And then
will you do both before and middle?
I don't know. I can't remember if I'm taking one before or not. I have a whole race plan put together, which I'll talk a little bit about it. But for the half, it's been truly just 20 to 25 gram gel packets every 4 miles. So I ended up with, I think, 3 during the race.
Okay.
And I've always handled maltodextrin, I think, is what is in most race packets pretty well, or gel packs. And so that's for a half marathon. So obviously the marathon fueling is a whole different beast, because now you're looking at
much bigger piece from a performance standpoint.
A minimum of 3 hours. And this is what you don't know what you don't know. And this is something I don't know.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, typically that bonk happens around mile 17, 18, 20. And again, from my understanding is if you don't consume anything at 90 minutes, you're gonna bonk, right? Your body's just gonna shut down because it's out of glycogen, and it's gonna switch to fat burning, and it's just not as efficient, and so you're gonna slow down drastically. But if you're somewhat fueling, in the past, the recommendation is about 30 grams, I think, is what they've been telling people.
And pacing has a lot to do with that too. I mean, it's not like one switches on, one switches off. Like you're burning both at the same time, depending on what pace you're running.
That's fair. And so if you're somewhat fueling, but it's still not enough, again, bonk happens. And again, this is just from a nutritional standpoint, not pace. But yes, pace makes a difference too. And so there's now a ton of research saying that 60 to 90 is a better band of carb loading, or not carb loading, but within intra race. And then you have elites pushing almost 120 grams,
even more.
But they have had years of training the gut. The gut training is just as important, because just because you show up and say, "Hey, I'm going to consume 100 grams," your body, if it's so new to the body, your body's not going to utilize all that, and so you'll still bulk. And so that's why all the literature says you have to start training it now. And this goes all the way back to, I've strategically been increasing my carbs so my body can start utilizing this. So now, just in a normal training, week one of marathon, I'm at 500 grams already, right? So I'm teaching my body to utilize this glycogen. My goal is to be pushing hopefully 90 to 100 grams an hour for myself. Again, being 200-pound person makes a difference as well. I think a lot of research is done on 160, 170 pound men. So I'm going to push that. For me, it's going to be Science and Sports. CIS is the brand I've kind of chosen. They have their beta, which is 40 grams in a gel packet. I've seen that have handled that pretty well. And they also have the gel packets with electrolytes in it, which is huge, because I don't want to be popping tablets. And then I'm going to carry bottles that they have more carbs in as well. So that's kind of how I'm going to get to every hour, is between the gel pack and that. And then definitely add the caffeine definitely at the end, around mile 20, and hopefully towards the end have that kick in. So that's where I'm at now.
I think it's smart to dial in now, because like you said, one, it can take your body some time to acclimate to utilizing that fuel.
Or in the worst cases, you consume 100 grams and you weren't at it or adapted to it yet, and you're going to have some GI issues.
That's the other piece. So, take some time to adapt to that. And I think you're also smart to do that, leading into this first marathon, because it's a piece that so many people miss. Like, it's such an afterthought for most people, as far as in the training cycle. You ask, I don't know, 80 to 90% of the runners on the start line, like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" They're like, "Well, I have these gels. I might take one every now and again," but they don't know what they're getting in, or what the plan is, basically.
And again, I see this as control the controllables. It's something I can control, right? And so I will have I'll be consuming gels for definitely all the runs, but I'll have 3 pretty much dress rehearsals, right? I'm going to try and duplicate what I'm going to have pre-run, and then I'm going to duplicate that intra run as well. Because again, I don't want any surprises. And you have to change your mind, because there's definitely been times where it's like, that gel doesn't sound great right now. But you have to do it. And if you can get into a race, I'm feeling good at mile 16, that gel doesn't sound great, I'm going to bypass it. You're going to bomb. Right? 2 miles later, you're going to feel it. Because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for that gel pack to kick in.
And that's, I think, the other piece to that. I mean, I've definitely fallen victim to this before. Is like, well, I feel good now, so I don't need it. You're fueling for yourself at the end of the race, or later on in the race. You're not fueling for how you like. You should feel good 4 miles into a half or full. So I think just getting a plan and sticking with the plan is going to be the ultimate route to success. Again, practice it in your lead up, whatever, like you said, in those dress rehearsal race simulations that you're doing, because again, so many people treat it as an after. I've been there. I know I've done that before. But I've learned the lesson the hard way. Don't learn it the hard way. Learn from my mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah, like prioritize it, because it can, especially in, like you said, a half when you're pushing elite levels, it probably does make a bit of a difference. But in a full, it can make or break your race. Like, it can be detrimental or fuel you to your goal, basically.
And again, I don't want that to be my outcome.
Yeah.
We've seen a runner last year that we thought was easily sub 3.
Yeah.
I mean, and he ended up bonking, and I mean, he was ripping 6. I think he was on pace, and then next thing you know, he's at 9 pace.
Yeah. It falls off quickly.
Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get to that point, your only choice is to slow down, basically. Right. So you're fueling to outlast, like, get to the finish line before those levels get to the point where you can't run at the same pace or sustain pace. So yeah, I think have a plan, practice it, and it can be progressive, just like your runs can be. Like you said, gut training is a real thing. Being able to take more carbs, more fluid, more electrolytes, all of that is tough to plan for.
And so for me, I will consume, if I'm doing anything, if I'm past an hour and a half, typically, even if it's easy, I throw in a gel currently. So like this Saturday for my 15, I'll probably do 2.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now, training wise. Like, my key sessions are brick workouts, so a long bike and a run off the bike, fluctuating in intensity. So some weeks will be harder than others. Some are more just like aerobic or longer distance base. But for both of those, I'm taking that 90-gram gel or 2 plus electrolytes and a 20-ounce bottle of fluids, which sometimes, depending on the distance, we'll fill that up in the middle of too. But it's definitely something that, again, I've learned the lesson the hard way by not performing. And when you do that and then you fuel correctly, it's like night and day. Like, you feel like you could go forever.
Yeah.
So it's a big piece of the puzzle that I think a lot of folks, like I said, it's an afterthought for, and especially if you're talking full marathon or anything longer than a half, like, you need to be prioritizing it from a strategy standpoint.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you want to get into?
I don't think so. I think supplements have their own day.
Yeah.
I'm definitely big into supplements.
Yeah.
Again, there's so many other levers that you have to pull, and we'll talk about that. But at some point, I think there is a place for supplements for people.
Yeah.
And what that means from a day-to-day from a performance standpoint as well. But no, I think we pretty much hit what we wanted to hit.
Yeah.
Obviously, I talk nutrition all day, talk food all day.
Recap. So we both have 2 different strategies as far as fueling goes. I would say there is value to tracking in the short term, even if it's not your long-term strategy or something that you're going to do forever.
Even if you're not performing, I think just people in general.
Yeah.
Because again,
knowing what you're taking in.
I know there's a general population that, like, well, I'm eating healthy.
Yeah.
It's like, if you actually tracked,
yep,
I think you would, again, it would be eye-opening of what your day-to-day looks like and what your macro breakdown truly looks like.
Yeah. I think like the example is, it's like setting a budget. And if you're not budgeting or have some semblance of what's coming in, what's going out, it's hard to perform well, I guess. Carbs are king when it comes to performance and fueling performance,
specifically endurance.
So making sure, if you are training for a race, like, prioritizing that from a intake standpoint. I think we can maybe touch on this in another episode, but there was like the fat adaptation fad for a long period of time. And I think the research would support, like, if you are trying to perform at the highest level, you have to have carbs.
Yeah.
Like, it is
Yeah. And I think that would be, I think we could dabble more into that if we were talking ultras. I think that's where the fat is more key, is what they're finding out, just because you're at a even slower pace. Where carbs they're important, but fat utilization might be even more important.
Totally.
But that I don't know much about, so I've not dove into that.
Yeah. And I mean, we can talk another couple hours on this, I think, but we'll get into more nutrition stuff down the road. But I think that covers a good, like, foundational, what our week is, how we kind of look at nutrition, and then from a fueling standpoint for races and training specifically, what
and
that
if we
looks
miss something, put it in the comments. Let us know if you have certain brands that you'd recommend on gels. Drop them in the comments. Love to talk about this stuff.
For sure.
Definitely up my alley.
What's the workout next week?
Next week, we are hitting some threshold. So this is, haven't done much of it, but after last episode, we talked about how threshold training is king, especially for half marathons. So we are going to do a mile warm up, and then we'll have 3 by 10 minute at threshold, which for everybody is going to be different. We'll label it as comfortably hard for you, and it'll be sub marathon for me pace, around the 6:25, 6:30 pace.
It's roughly what you could sustain for 45 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, which is kind of 10K for me. And then it's going to be a 2-minute jog recovery. So no standing recovery. So it's going to be, 36 minutes?
34
minutes of moving. So it'd be a good one with, whatever the cool down is for you. So
sweet.
Yeah. So that's that. Anything else?
No, I loved the workout this morning. Felt like that was
a good one.
That was our first week of the official half marathon block. So I think that was good. Excited to get into 8 reps and 10 reps of the same thing later on. But I think that it'll be a cool test. Okay, we're getting fitter and things are progressing. So
week 2 is threshold. I think next episode we kind of throw around the idea of possibly recovery. So again, if there's anything you want to know about recovery, we'll be touching it, but leave that in the comments. As always, like and subscribe.
For sure.
Helps content element. If you want to sponsor us, let us know. Always looking for new coffee beans.
Or Yeti. What?
I mean, yeah, let's go Yeti. Coffee beans, sauce, flamingo.
There you go.
Who's some of the local one line?
Yeah.
You want to send some roasts?
Folgers.
Folgers. That would be, yes. You are a Folgers guy. So with that, episode 3 in the books.
See you next.